Have you ever trusted someone with your whole heart, only to have them stab you in the back over something that could have changed your entire life? I'm talking about a betrayal so deep, it shakes the very foundation of who you are, leaving you scrambling to pick up the pieces of your dreams. That's the gut-wrenching reality I faced when I found out my own sister lied to steal the scholarship I'd poured my blood, sweat, and tears into earning. This isn't just about money or a piece of paper. It's about family, ambition, and the raw, messy fight to reclaim what's rightfully yours when the person you die for turns out to be the one holding the knife. I'm going to walk you through every painful step. The moment I discovered the truth, the rage and heartbreak that nearly drowned me, and a shocking revelation that flipped everything I thought I knew upside down. Stick with me, because I've battled through this mess, and I'm still not sure if I've found justice or if there's more I need to do. Let's dive into the hardest fight of my life. My name's Jordan, and I'm 24 now, living in a cramped apartment in Columbus, Ohio, a gritty, bustling city in the heart of the Midwest where the Scioto River cuts through downtown and the mix of college energy and blue-collar roots shapes every street. Columbus is a place of contrasts. Gleaming skyscrapers near Ohio State University's sprawling campus clash with weathered neighborhoods like mine in Franklin, where I'm scraping by as a barista at a local coffee shop while taking night classes at Columbus State Community College. The story I'm about to tell you, the wound that still stings, centers on how my older sister, Mia, lied to steal the scholarship I'd earned in the spring of 2019, a betrayal that shattered my trust and sent me on a desperate mission to reclaim my future. Mia's 27 now, a charismatic but secretive person who's always been the golden child in our family, with a knack for getting what she wants, though I never imagined she'd cross a line like this. The emotional conflict tearing me apart was the clash between the fierce love I've always had for her, built on years of shared struggles growing up in a rough neighborhood, and the searing anger and disbelief I felt when I learned she'd sabotaged my one shot at a better life, making me question if family really means what I thought it did. The unexpected twist came in late 2020, when I uncovered that Mia didn't just lie out of jealousy or greed. She was drowning in her own hidden crisis, a secret that changed how I saw her actions, even if it didn't erase the hurt. This all unfolds in Columbus from 2019 to 2023, with the city's mix of urban grit, campus dreams, and quiet suburban edges as the backdrop to my fight. Memories of what that scholarship meant to me hit hard as I sit in my tiny apartment late at night, the distant hum of traffic on I-70 filtering through the thin walls, pulling me back to days before everything unraveled. I think about when I was a senior in high school, just 18, hunched over a rickety desk in my bedroom in our old duplex near the west side, scribbling essays and filling out applications by the light of a cheap lamp, dreaming of being the first in our family to go to a four-year college. I remember the pride in my chest when I got the acceptance letter for the Buckeye Future Grant, a full-ride scholarship for low-income Ohio State students, and how I'd stare at the letter pinned to my wall, imagining walking across that campus with purpose. Now, flipping through old photos on my phone, me and Mia at the Columbus Zoo as kids, or cheering at a Clippers baseball game. I wonder how something so tied to my dreams could be ripped away by the one person I thought had my back, and why I didn't see the cracks in our bond sooner. The nightmare kicked off on a humid May evening in 2019, right after my high school graduation, when Columbus was buzzing with summer energy, food trucks lining High Street, students flooding the short north for art crawls, and I was riding high on the promise of my future. I'd been invited to a scholarship award ceremony at Ohio State Student Union, a big deal with my name on the recipient list, and I'd asked Mia to come with me for support, expecting her to be as hyped as I was. But when I got there, dressed in my best thrift store button-up, the air thick with excitement, I was told there'd been a mix-up. My scholarship had been reassigned to someone else due to updated financial records that didn't match mine. Standing in that crowded ballroom, the chatter of proud families around me, I felt the floor drop out, my stomach churning as I tried to process how my dream had just vanished. It wasn't until a week later, after frantic calls and emails to the scholarship office, that I learned the truth. Mia had submitted forged documents claiming she was me, using my name and social security number to redirect the funds to her own account, a betrayal that hit like a freight train and marked the start of a rift I didn't know how to cross. The weight of her deception didn't fully sink in until I sat alone in my room that night, the distant sound of a neighbor's music thumping through the walls, staring at the empty spot on my desk where the scholarship letter used to sit. I couldn't wrap my head around why Mia, the sister who'd helped me with homework when we were kids, who'd shared stolen candy with me under the covers during tough times, would do this. I'd lie awake, the summer heat sticking to my skin, torn between the love I had for her memories of her defending me from bullies in middle school, and the rage boiling inside me, wondering if every kind word she'd ever said was a lie. Columbus's vibrant summer, the festivals at Goodale Park, the fireworks over the river, felt like a cruel mockery of the darkness swallowing me, a reminder of the future I'd lost and the family I wasn't sure I could trust anymore. The emotional toll deepened through the rest of 2019 as I wrestled with the loss of my scholarship and the betrayal behind it. Each day a reminder of a dream slipping through my fingers. I tried confronting Mia, showing up at her place in Hilliard, a quiet suburb west of Columbus, on sticky evenings after long shifts at a fast food joint I'd taken to pay bills, but her vague excuses, claiming it was a mistake or that she'd fix it, only fueled my anger, leaving me feeling like a naive kid who'd been played. I'd escaped to the trails along the Olentangy River, walking for hours while the ache of missing out on college, something I'd fought so hard for, mixed with frustration at Mia, wondering if I'd failed myself by trusting her too much. My makeshift plans, enrolling in community college part-time while working, felt like a downgrade, and every late-night study session in a noisy coffee shop near campus was a stab of what could have been, while Columbus's autumn chill rolling in seemed to mirror the coldness growing in my heart. Determined to reclaim what was mine, I started digging into how Mia pulled this off in early 2020, turning my hurt into a quiet mission, even as I battled doubts about whether I could ever look at her the same way again. I spent months gathering evidence, poring over emails and financial aid forms at the library downtown, the smell of old books and stale coffee grounding me as I uncovered discrepancies in the paperwork she'd submitted. I drive through Columbus's sprawling neighborhoods on my breaks, from the artsy vibes of the short north to the grittier edges of Linden, chasing leads by talking to financial aid advisors or even a distant cousin who worked in records, each dead end a blow to my hope, but also a spark to keep pushing, fueled by memories of staying up all night to earn that scholarship in the first place. Columbus's community, folks at the diner near my job dropping advice over greasy fries, or classmates at community college sharing their own struggles, kept me going, though every step carried the weight of Mia's silence, and I wasn't sure if I was fighting for justice or just to prove I wasn't a fool. The unexpected twist slammed into me in November 2020, on a bleak, snowy evening after months of digging, when the truth about Mia's actions came to light, reshaping my anger into a tangled mess of pity and confusion. I'd managed to get a meeting with a financial aid officer at Ohio State, and after presenting my case, they confirmed the fraud, but also let slip something Mia had hidden. She wasn't just greedy. She'd been spiraling into debt after losing her job during the early pandemic chaos, racking up medical bills for a condition she hadn't told anyone about, a chronic illness that drained her savings. Sitting in my beat-up car outside the campus office, the snow piling on the windshield, I felt a storm of emotions, fury at her deception, heartbreak for her secret struggle, and guilt for assuming it was all selfishness, all while the distant glow of Columbus's skyline seemed to mock my shattered assumptions about who she really was. Reeling from this revelation, I threw myself into fighting the system to restore my scholarship or at least get some form of restitution, turning my pain into stubborn resolve, even as I wrestled with what Mia's secret meant for us. I didn't confront her about the illness, not yet, too raw to face her, instead spending hours filing appeals with the university, working with a pro bono legal aid group I found through a community center in Franklin, my hands shaky as I typed out statements late at night after shifts. Columbus's winter bite, the icy winds whipping through the streets, the holiday lights on State House Square, a stark contrast to my dark mood, felt like a test of my grit, though every step forward carried the weight of Mia's unspoken pain, and I wasn't sure if I'd ever bridge the gap between us. I started picking up extra shifts at the coffee shop, saving every penny for potential legal fees, coming home to a cold apartment with just ramen for dinner, each small victory in the appeal process a bittersweet reminder of what I'd lost. Reflecting on my past with Mia became a near-constant loop, especially on quiet nights in my apartment, the hum of the radiator grounding me as I thought about what we'd been through. I'd remember the good times, like when we'd sneak into free concerts at Columbus Commons as teens, laughing under the summer stars, a memory now tainted by the image of her forging my name in my mind. I recalled the day she helped me move into my first place after high school, hauling boxes in the rain, a moment now overshadowed by the loss of the very future she'd helped me dream of. I'd sit on my sagging couch, staring at the gray cityscape through my window, wondering if I'd ignored signs of her struggles or if I'd been too quick to idolize her as the perfect sister. Columbus's renewal, spring blooms along the riverfront, the buzz of campus life, felt like a challenge to my stagnation, pushing me to decide if I could rebuild with her or if the hurt ran too deep. The grind of fighting for my scholarship stretched into 2021 and beyond, with the pandemic slowing my progress but not my resolve, as the weight of Mia's hidden illness lingered like the fog over the Scioto River. I managed to get a partial reinstatement of funds through the university after a grueling appeal process, a small win that let me cover some tuition at community college, though I had to keep working double shifts, my savings growing painfully slow while the world stumbled through lockdowns. I'd escape to the quiet of Franklin Park on rare days off, the stillness of the gardens drowning my spiraling thoughts, questioning if I'd been too hard on Mia, if I should have seen her desperation, or if my obsession with justice was more about proving something to myself. Columbus's eerie stillness during those years, empty streets downtown, the silence of shuttered bars, mirrored my isolation, each day a battle to keep hope alive, while the full dream of Ohio State felt further away than ever. By late 2022, I'd carved out a fragile balance, with the partial scholarship helping me stay in school and my barista job covering rent, though the unresolved hurt with Mia lingered like the damp chill of an Ohio winter. The university couldn't fully restore what I'd lost due to processing limits, but they offered me priority for future grants, a bittersweet compromise I accepted, driving me to push harder in my classes, staying up late with textbooks in a 24-hour diner near campus. I moved into a slightly better apartment, a quiet victory as I set up a small desk for studying, though trust with Mia remained a distant hope, tested by every avoided text I sent her, unsure if I'd mention her illness or just let the truth fester. Columbus's rugged spirit, the resilience of folks rebuilding after hard times, the community vibe at local markets, kept me grounded, though every step forward carried a mix of triumph and unanswered questions about my relationship with her. The emotional weight of reclaiming part of my future while carrying this betrayal felt like trudging through a Midwest snowstorm, each step forward shadowed by a past I couldn't fully shake. I'd run into old friends at spots like North Market, their casual, "How's Mia?" questions a minefield, forcing me to dodge with half smiles while inside I burned with the secret of her illness and deception, a weight I'd only shared with a coworker I trusted. I started second-guessing my silence with her, wondering if I'd been too harsh in pulling back, or if closure meant a raw conversation about her struggles, a thought that kept me up on nights when the city's distant sirens sounded louder than my resolve. I even considered reaching out to her for a real talk, floating the idea during quiet moments at work while steaming lattes, but backed out each time, scared of what I'd uncover about my own lingering anger, unsure if it'd help us heal or just stir more pain. Driving along I-71, past the sprawling cityscape, I wrestled with whether I'd let this betrayal steal too much from me, or if I'd reclaimed enough by fighting for my education. The weight of Mia's actions, and my own lingering doubts, didn't fade easily. Even as I pushed forward, each memory of the scholarship a reminder of how fragile family ties can be. I'd spend hours in my apartment, scrolling through old texts from her, finding a silly meme she'd sent years ago, and feel a pang of longing for the bond we'd lost, now replaced by a guarded hope when I'd get a rare, vague message from her. I started avoiding family gatherings beyond quick holiday drop-ins, unable to sit through hours of small talk with her there, wondering if she ever regretted what she did or if she still saw it as a desperate necessity. I'd walk through the short north on quiet evenings, past the murals and trendy cafes, feeling like a stranger in my own story, asking myself if I'd been too quick to pull away, or if that distance was the only way to protect the peace I'd fought for. The city's vibe, the mix of history and hustle, felt like a mirror to my inner struggle, a reminder that moving on wasn't just about reclaiming my education, but about living with the scar of broken trust. By mid-2023, I'd built a life I could call stable, with my grades strong enough to apply for transfer to Ohio State next year, and my job offering steady pay, though not unscathed by the journey. I celebrated small victories, like a solo trip to Hocking Hills, standing atop a cliff with the wind whipping around me, a sense of freedom I hadn't felt in years, though I still caught flickers of resentment in my reflection during quiet moments, a reminder of the trust one was still rebuilding with myself. Yet, every time I'd hear from Mia, a rare attempt to reconnect, usually a quick text about catching up, I'd feel that old mix of anger and curiosity, wondering if we'd ever truly address her deception and illness, or if we were doomed to this surface-level dance. I started tutoring younger students at the community college, teaching them study hacks, the act of bomb and a blade, unsure if I was healing or just hiding from the bigger questions about my relationship with her. Reflecting on the journey to reclaim my future and wrestle with Mia's betrayal, I spent a lot of time wandering Columbus's quieter edges, like the paths along the Scioto Mile, The city horizon a somber mirror to my mood as I thought about what I'd gained and lost. I'd remember the early days with Mia, sneaking late-night drives to grab cheap burgers at White Castle, dreaming of better days while the city lights glowed, a hope now tainted by the memory of her forging my name. I thought about her quiet strength growing up, helping mom with bills when dad walked out, a grit now warped by the secret of her illness, reduced to fleeting, awkward texts if I reach out. I'd sit on park benches, sketching out transfer applications in the fading light, wondering if I'd been too naive to see her struggles, or if I'd ignored red flags in her distance over the years. Columbus's harsh beauty, the endless urban sprawl, the river's steady flow, felt like a challenge, pushing me to decide if I'd let this hurt define me, or if I could forge something new despite it. Now, as I sit here in my apartment, the soft glow of my desk lamp casting shadows on my textbooks, the distant sound of a train rumbling through the night drifting through the cracked window, I'm still wrestling with where to go from here. My life feels steadier, with a shot at Ohio State on the horizon and my work grounding me, but not whole, not yet. There are nights when I stare at my phone, wondering if sitting down with Mia to talk about her illness and that betrayal could mend something, or if it'd just reopen the wound. And then there's my own heart. Part of me wants to rebuild with her, to understand why she felt she had no other choice, maybe even support her if she's still struggling. But another part of me just wants to focus on my own future, to stop letting her choices loom over me, maybe even graduate and leave Columbus for a fresh start somewhere new. This city's taught me resilience, with its history of grinding through hard times, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to face that part of my past head on. So, I'm turning to you, my listeners, because I'm at a crossroads and I could really use your perspective. Have you ever had a family member betray something sacred to you, leaving you to fight for what's yours, and had to figure out how to move forward? How did you handle it? Did you confront them, give them space, or just focus on rebuilding yourself? I'm torn between reaching out to Mia for one last honest conversation, risking more hurt, or letting the past stay buried and moving forward on my own terms. What would you do in my shoes? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I'm still figuring out how to honor the love I had for her without losing more of myself in the process. Thanks for listening to my story. I'll see you in the next one.